So, we've talked about the benefits of automation and the things we need to be prepared for. Let's now look at an example of something we can automate using Python. Say, for example, that you wanted to check the health of your computer. This can call for a lot of different checks. Verifying that there's enough disk space, that the processor isn't overloaded, that it has the latest security updates, and that it's running the services it's supposed to. To verify all of this, we need to know how to check each of these values. And of course, we'll do it by using some of the handy modules available to us. For example, we can use the shutil module and the disk usage function to check the current available disk space. Let's try it out in the interpreter. We'll start by importing the shutil module. Then, get the disk usage. Let's print the variable and see what's in it. Cool, so we get the total number of bytes on the disk, the amount that's used, and the amount that's free. We can calculate the percentage of free disk space by dividing the number of bytes free by the total and multiplying that by 100. Alright, but what about CPU usage? For this, we can use another module called psutil. This includes a CPU percent function that returns a number showing how much of the CPU is being used. The amount of CPU used at each instant can change a lot, since processes are starting and finishing all the time. So, this function receives an interval of seconds and returns an average percentage of usage in that interval. Let's try it out. We'll start by importing the psutil module. Then, call the CPU percent function with 0.1 seconds. When we're using the interactive interpreter, we can use the arrows in our keyboard to get back the lines that we wrote before. So, using the up arrow, let's execute the same line a few times. As you can see, this can vary a lot. Let's try it with 0.5 seconds. See how it's taking longer to finish than previous calls, but the numbers are more similar to each other? That's because the function needs to wait for the given time to calculate the average. Okay, so we've done a bunch of research. Now we can write our health checking script. We'll kick off with a script that'll do 2 health checks. First, we'll set our script to use the Python interpreter with the shebang. We know that we'll use shutil and psutil, so let's import those 2 modules. Let's first define a check disk usage function that will receive a disk to check and return true if there's more than 20% free, or false if it's less. And now, let's write another function called check CPU usage. In this case, we'll check the usage for a whole second. We'll say the machine is healthy if the CPU usage is less than 75%. Great, we have our two functions. Let's now add the main body of our script where we'll check if either of those two functions returns false. So here, we're just printing a message that the user will see. We'll improve on the script later on once we've learned better ways of notifying our system administrators. We're almost done. Let's save our script, make it executable, and run it. So there you have it. Everything's okay, which seems like a great point to wrap up this exercise. All along this course, we'll explore practical automation examples which you'll be able to apply in your job. And as we talk about the additional functionality available, we'll be able to extend our automation knowledge to more and more areas. So how are you feeling? Some of this stuff is a little tricky, and learning about automation calls for a little bit of manual work. The irony isn't lost on us. So roll up your sleeves and practice these scripts on your computer. Also, feel free to rewind and rewatch if you felt a little lost anywhere. Whether you need to do a little review or you're about to jump straight into the next practice quiz, you're doing great. Keep at it.